Hey guys, welcome to the new video of Mules of Online Learning. In this particular video, we will be discussing about VM connector. So, we will be starting with some of the concept building, and then we will jump to the several use cases of VM connector and how it can be employed in real-time situations. So, let's start with the official MuleSoft documentation of VM connector. So here I am on the this particular page which talks about the VM connector in Mule 4. So it is being used, like VM stands for virtual machine, and it is used to handle intra-app and inter-app communication through asynchronous queues which can be transient and persistent. Or transient is like in memory, very short duration, cannot be relied but faster in nature, whereas persistent is slower but those are reliable, so even they can sustain system restarts and all the other things. So while running on a single instance, persistent queues work by serializing and storing the contents on the disk. When running in cluster mode, persistent queues are backed by memory grid. This means whenever there is a flow that uses a VM connector to publish content to a queue, Mule runtime determines whether to process the message in the same origin node or to send it to the cluster for any another node to pick it up. So, having said that, it can be used for managing the load across the clusters, and it also supports the transaction boundary. Apart from that, when to use VM connector? So when we want to pass messages from one flow to the another, from one app to another, or when there is no need specifically to use any out of box GMS broker like EMS or something, or RabbitMQ, or when you want to distribute a work across cluster that we already discussed. What is the limitation of persistent queue? So it asks us, because it is using Creo serializer. So Creo serialization is like one of the MuleSoft proprietary serializer, and it heavily uses it in different connectors. So it means like the content you must send, it should be serializable, even though you can enable Creo serialization to get a wider range of serializable values, but it is having some of the limitations. So it allows streams, JSON object maps, as long as associated value comply the recommendations, like uh, they should implement the serializable interface, and that they form the conform to the Java bean contract, and your value should be quite simple. Overly complex structures can result in any serialization errors. So let's so having said that, let's start with some of the VM connector real-time use cases. So I will go and open my Anypoint Studio. We will be first starting with our VM connector pub/sub demo. So in order to save the time and complete all the use cases, I will be referring these applications which I have already created. Later on, I will push all these code in my GitHub repo, and you can fork from there. Give me a moment. I want to go in a particular order. So guys, this is the first one, that is VM publish and listener. So what we have done, we have created two flows. One is for the publisher and another is for the listener flow. Let me rename this guy. So what we have done, we have right click on the project explorer, package explorer, and go to the new and select the Mule project. After that you have to go to the properties. You have to go to the properties and check for the Mule project, and under that domain project you have to select. I am using this one because this listener will be using the HTTP connection configuration from our domain project. And after that this is basically a post method, and it will be accepting application JSON as the payload. After that we are logging it, marking along with the payload, and then we have added the VM connector. So if it is not appearing over here, you have to click on add modules. It will appear somewhere after this is a spring connector. So you have to just drag and drop onto this left hand side, and this will come up like this, and you have to drag and drop this published palette onto the canvas of the project. And after that you have to configure some of the things, like you have to click on plus sign, and it will open up a new configuration window which will look like similar to this. So you can mention depending on the project uses. I have named it as pubsub. After that I have enabled the connection, reconnection, and the standard I have followed, like 2 connection attempts within a frequency of 2 seconds. After that I have selected the queues as edit inline and click on plus sign. After that, if you click on plus sign, it will give you the option of selecting either persistent or transient. So I have selected the transient one, and I have named the queue as sample, and I have clicked on OK after that. So this is pretty much of it, and let's go back to the flow. And after that, what I have done, the content I have passed the payload, and the correlation ID I have set as always and marked it as now, that is the system timestamp. And after that, if you click on this particular button, then this queue will automatically picked up, which we have defined in the VM connector. Rest of the things we will take it as by default, and this is being done. After that I have placed a logger file just to mention VM publisher completed the message publication successfully. Let me add this word as well. And after that, what I have done, I have gone back to the VM domain and drag and drop the listener palette onto the main canvas, and configure using the same VM config pubsub, and the payload I have selected same, and the queue the same queue which I have created in the pubsub VM config. After that, there is a logger. VM listener picked up the message, and I am printing the payload as well. So that's pretty much of it. Let's quickly go to the this one, and let me quickly fix this thing. I will save this project, and I will go for it testing of it. I will quickly check what is the path I have given in HTTP listener. This is VM pubsub. Okay, now let's keep a close look on this console. In the meanwhile, let me start the postman. So this is the VM pubsub which I am going to use. I have selected the post method and body as raw and type as JSON, and this is the single element message with this particular hello VM connector. So now it is showing it is being deployed. I will hit it from the postman. It is showing me either not initialized or has been disposed of. So let me quickly check what is the problem. I will go and right click over here, and you can see it is in the stop state, so I will enable it, and here as well. I will save it once again, and now it's again loading the application. Let me hit it once again. So here you can see the payload is being set, and let's quickly go to the this particular log. So going by the log flow, the first one is the logger, which says VM publisher flow initiated, VM publisher flow initiated, and we are printing the payload. After that, VM this has published and it has gone to this particular flow, and we are logging here. VM listener picked up the message, so VM listener picked up the message, and after that uh, VM publisher completed the message successfully, and it came back over here, and this is the message it is printing. So this was the first use case, and let's I hope this has been pretty much clear, straightforward. I will close this project and open up the next project now. That is a VM connector dynamic routing demo. So it will be about how we can pass the queue in the as a part of our payload itself. So it's pretty much the same project which we have used in the previous project. So just couple of things I need to take care. I will fix this warning very quickly. So if you go to the publish method, I will be sending this time two elements, the payload.body and payload.destination, and there is a VM config dynamic routing configuration. Let me quickly check this. Pretty much same. I have just named this queue as sample routing because you need to mention it somewhere, because if you don't mention it, it will return error, configuration error. I will again go to the this one, and here you can see sample routing. It will automatically picked up from a VM config file, and let's test it. One more thing, I need to check the path. It's VM dynamic routing. Okay, I will go and click on the run. In the meanwhile, let's go to the run postman and check this. So as mentioned, I will be sending body and destination as the two elements within the payload. The destination will be the queue on which the routing will happen, and body will contain the dummy message. So we'll wait till this gets loaded. So yes, pretty much of it. Let's hit it. So it is completed successfully. Let's go to the VM publisher dynamic routing flow initiated. This is the body, this is the destination. After that, VM listener picked up the message. So from here it is picking up, and we are printing the payload. So it is only picking up the payload, reason being here we have mentioned the content as payload, and after that it goes back to the main flow, and it will say the dynamic routing message is completed. So let me show you the logger. So this is the message. So it's pretty much the extension of our previous use case, and the main uh, essence of this use case was to make the queue uh, configurable, that is from the payload itself. So that's pretty much of this particular use case. Let's jump on to the next use case now. I will close this project, and we will check for this pub get response demo. I am getting some warnings, so I will first fix those warnings. I will quick fix this one. So now this time what I will do, instead of publish, I will use the publish consume method. Publish consume, I will drag and drop over here and quickly configure it with VM config. I will be sending the same message, payload.body and payload.destination, and this is the same listener, and within the response I have set this particular message. Let me show you. So this is pretty much of it. I will be adding this origin element onto the payload, and I will be putting the original payload within the body element along with the origin new element as well, and this will be sent entirely as a new payload back to the main calling flow, that is the public to the listener part of it. So let's quickly run this guy. Right click, run project. Have a close check on this. What is the path? It's VM pubsub consume. Again, it will be a post method, and MIME type will be application JSON. So VM pub consume. I will wait till it gets started. In the meanwhile, go to Postman and let's check the VM pub consume. So I will be sending body element as publisher consume flow, or let's put some, okay, that should be fine, and the simple routing. So now it's being deployed. Let's quickly test this. Click on send button. So this thing on the body publisher consume flow, now it is being mapped onto the body element, and we have added a new element as origin, and the overall is being set as a payload, and it is being returned back to the HTTP listener response field. So this is from the VM listener. This is what we have configured here, right? So in this way we can update our response as well. So just to show you, VM demo initiated from this place, and we are printing the demo initiated payload. So this is the payload. After that, this destination is being picked up for routing purpose, and VM listener consume the message. So here it is, consume the message. After that, it is printing the payload. This is the publisher consume flow. So this is the body it is printing. After that, it goes back to the publisher consumer, and it is now printing the final payload. So payload will now contain the origin element as well. So this is what it is being sent from this listener part. So with this particular use case, I have shown you like how we can manipulate the payload as well, how we can add some extra element in the response fields. So this is pretty much of this particular use case. I will quickly close this one. I will stop this and close this project. Now we will be checking out like how we can use the inter-app communication using the VM connector. So I will open my domain project and configuration file. After that, you have to click on manage modules, and you have to click on this plus sign and from exchange, and you can search for VM. So you have to select this and click on add, and just click on finish. I have already done this, so that's why it is coming up right here, the 2.0.0 version of VM connector, and I will configure this connector as well. Pretty much same standard, but this time what I have done, I have used the shared queue along with the persistent type. I will quickly save this project, and after that what I have done, I have created two projects with VM app 1 and VM app 2. One app will be publishing it and the other will try to consume it. So let me open the VM app 1. Again, you have to domanize this project. Go to the properties, click on the Mule project, click on the Mule project and select the domain project and apply and close. So let me show you the content of this VM config, the VM app first. So this is post method only, and the method name is VM, the path is VM pub. MIME type will be application JSON. After that, I will be logging the message. Cross app to publish VM message started, and the payload I have printed. After that I have drag and drop the VM publisher, and the VM config domain will come up because it is a domainized project. And after that I have in the content I have set the payload, and this queue name will automatically pick up. And there is a same, you can also externalize it as one of the element from the payload, but I want to keep it simple, so that's why I directly hard coded it as shared queue. Also, once you click on this refresh page, it will automatically get popped up. Final is the logger, like message published, and what message published is being marked as payload. After that, similarly we have to create one more app, VM app 2, and you have to domainize this project as well. I have already shown like how to create a domain project and how to domainize a different application to it. So let me show you the VM app 2. So it is basically a listener with VM config picked up from the domain project, and shared queue will be listening. And after that the response will be the pretty much the payload. We are not manipulating anything. And the VM listener cross app using Mule app domain, and payload we are printing. So let's run this as well. I will go to the run as configuration and run configuration, and I will select all these. So I will be running VM app 1 to publish and VM app to listen. Along with that, both these applications are using domain projects, so that is also being selected. I will click on apply and click on run. In the meanwhile it gets loaded. I will go to the Postman, and it is using the VM pub as the path. Let me quickly cross check on VM app 1. Yeah, VM pub. So VM pub we are using. Let's see, once it gets loaded we will quickly test it. So it's loaded now. As you can see within the console, domain project is deployed. VM app 2 and VM app 1 are also, which are using the domain project, these are being deployed. Let's run it from the Postman. I will hit the send button. So in response it is printing the same message which we have published. Let's go to the console. So cross app to publish VM message started. Now it is printing the payload. After that VM message is published. This is from the VM app 1 only. From this particular logger VM message is published. So VM message is published. After that it is being picked up by the listener, and it is again printing the payload, and that's pretty much of it. In response of it, the HTTP listener will be printing the final payload, which it has received over here, that is body destination. So body destination, this is the payload which it is printing as a response of entire post method. So with this particular use case we come to the end of our VM connector demonstration. I hope you like this video and it helped you to further explore the different capabilities of VM connector within the Mule 4 application across. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next set of upcoming exciting videos. Thank you.